What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Cocteau Twins, as well as a strategically positioned Luca. And yes, we're moving to the next EP in the catalog. Thank you again to Mr. Solo, which is to say, we went through Victorialand 1986. This EP, Love's Easy Tears, is also from 1986, but I'm assuming it was released after. I do have to note that in the folder for this EP that Mr. Solo provided, there's 4 tunes, whereas on the Discogs master release there's only 3, and the one extra tune that's in this folder, which isn't shown on the master release, is Orange Appled. Nevertheless, as I said, have 4 tunes to go through, but the first track on the EP is the title track, Love's Easy Tears. I like the phrasing, there's a bit of poetry to it. Of course, love relates to an intense emotion, and of course that intense emotion can be felt more positively or more painfully. So the idea of love precipitating tears, whether it relates to heartbreak specifically or maybe jealousy, that is very easy to conceive of. Now, you can cry for reasons that are more happy. You can cry out of joy or out of awe. But yes, thinking of the way songs about love are often written, I would expect it to maybe relate to the heartbreak of love, and thus how easily love can precipitate weeping. That being said, the Cocteau Twins, as I have learned, don't always have full narratives or scene painting per se, and in some songs the words are more about sounds and syllables rather than telling a story or painting a coherent scene per se. So in that regard, I don't really know what to expect here. Let's give it a listen and see what I can pick up. This is Cocteau Twins. The song is Love's Easy Tears from the EP of the same name, 1986. Wow. So first of all, Elizabeth's singing feels a bit brighter and more intense. Not that I've not heard her sing with intensity, of course I have, but sometimes it's a bit more ethereal and dreamy, and here it felt a bit more forceful, and definitely there were, sharp ramping up, plural, of her, like, tone. So yeah, and that seemed to fit the atmosphere of the tune, meaning there was an echoic atmosphere, and it was a, like a rich atmosphere, but it felt a bit less dreamy and a bit less ethereal, and just felt more like this, like, big space. There was a lot of volume to it. But I will say though, like, I didn't catch too many words. I do think I heard the word love in there. But yeah, between the echoic sounds around her voice and just the overall, like, density and volume of the sonics, I didn't hear too many words clearly, so I do not have any insights into Love's Easy Tears. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was at least conceptual, meaning, like, she is speaking to love and its attributes or its impact. But yeah, if there is, like, a proper narrative here, or at least, like, a scene depiction, I did not pick up on it on this first listen. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It had, like, a bright sound, including with her vocals, which I think were layered. I think there were multiple points where I would hear one of her vocal lines, like, shooting up over another one. So yeah, at least in the back half of the tune, I think her vocals were layered a bit. But yeah, I definitely enjoy it. And again, I'll just keep saying this. There's no group I'm going through like them. They just kind of have their own thing. And it's not just because of the vocals slash lyrics being different than a lot of other bands and their vocals and lyrics. It's just the vibe. They very much have, like, atmosphere pieces, be they more dreamy or more, cycling. And the unique sound they have is, it is very much singular. So it's been enjoyable to go through, and it is interesting to me where it's like, this is kind of off the beaten path. So it's, when I was a kid in the 80s, as people know, or at least people who've been following my channel for a while, I got into synth pop and groups that use synthesizers, and Depeche Mode more than any other, just because they happened to come my way as a young child, and for whatever reason I keyed in on them. But I was interested in a lot of electronic music, and yet I don't know what would have happened had I encountered Cocteau Twins as a kid. I feel like as an adult I can very much appreciate what they were doing, but as a kid I might have been like, oh, that was really weird and interesting. Anyway, I'm going to go back to listening to, like, A Broken Frame or, like, whatever. So I do appreciate the opportunity to catch up on this group, which again was clearly doing things that just most other groups from this era were not. So in any case, thank you again to Mr. Solo, as well as all those who've been commenting along the way in the Cocteau journey. Let me know what you think of this track. I will see you next time. Peace.